Okay, so here's the undercarriage of the front end of my 2006 DB9. Notice what I've done here is lowered the subframe by using these clamps, long clamps, going up over that upper frame and holding the subframe. The engine is being held up by this jack stand, and I built a wooden plate underneath there to fit exactly on the bottom of the oil sump. There's extra little supports in that. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, you can see here. So it works out just right. Now the bottom of this sump has flat spots on it, clearly designed so that if you were to sit this engine on a table, the sump would hold it up. Now I didn't put a lot of weight on this jack in order to lift it just ever so slightly to get the pressure off the engine mounts. So this project right now is mostly about replacing the engine mounts. There's one sitting on the floor. And I'm pleased with this. Using these clamps was a last minute kind of inspiration. I was going to use ropes just to lower it down, but there's very convenient places to ground the clamps, or to land the clamps on the top of that frame there. And ever so slowly, after taking all the bolts out, I inched it down. Notice something else. The manual says, you know, if you're going to remove the subframe, just take the two bolts out on this lower arm. And there's one there and there's one here. And that's not enough. You can't then extract the arm, move it outboard to get it out of the way of trying to lower the subframe. So you do have to take off those knuckles here from the steering, right? So those have to be popped off using a ball joint remover, and that allows you the freedom to then move the arm out. Otherwise, if that ball joint were up in that hole, you wouldn't be able to move this whole lower arm out of the way on each side. Same thing here. Someone else's website, it's Aston, is it 1936? Very much admire that guy Steve for what I've learned from him, and I hope I just got his name right. If you're a DIY guy on a DB9, you know him, and if you don't, you better know him. Learned a lot from him. He did a demo on how to take apart the upper arms there, and I learned a few things from him about how to do the lowers. But then this whole job, as far as lowering the subframe, is finally done, and my next move will be to put in the new engine mounts and then reassemble all this. A little later I'll show you the tool, how I kind of ginned up a tool to reach the top nuts on the engine mounts, which are a bit crazy to get to. You can see that mount way up in there, the landing pad for the mount. I also have a oil leak. It's all cleaned up now. I probably have the timing cover oil leak, but having done all this cleanup, when I get this back assembled, before I put the wheels together, I'll run the engine and see if I can actually spot the leak. I'll put the frame back up by then to hold the engine while I'm doing it. But if I see the leak, I can get back under here. I'll probably just put the frame up with a few bolts and see if I can find that leak and maybe find a solution, or maybe live with it. But it was bad. All this stuff was terribly coated. All right, that's it for now.